So this is Acts chapter 22, now verse 22 through to 30. And they listened to him, they listened to Paul up to this point because he was on the steps of the barracks and he's preaching and telling them his testimony. Why? They knew that he had been one who persecuted the way, as it was called, and then he had changed to be the chief defender of the way. And then he said, and God has called me to go and preach the gospel to the Gentiles. It's the trigger, sets off another riot. They listened to him up to this statement, and then they raised their voices and said, "Away with such a fellow from the earth, for he should not be allowed to live." And as they were crying out and throwing off their cloaks and tossing dust into the air, the commander ordered him to be brought into the barracks, stating that he should be examined by scourging, so that he might find out the reason why they were shouting against him that way. And when they stretched him out with thongs, Paul said to the centurion who was standing by, "Is it lawful for you to scourge a man who is a Roman and uncondemned?" When the centurion heard this, he went to the commander and told him, saying, "What are you about to do? For this man is a Roman." And the commander came and said to him, "Tell me, are you a Roman?" And he said, "Yeah." And the commander answered, "I acquired this citizenship with a large sum of money." And Paul said, "But I was actually born a citizen." Therefore, those who were about to examine him immediately let go of him, and the commander also was afraid when he found out that he was a Roman, and because he had put him in chains. And on the next day, wishing to know for certain why he had been accused by the Jews, he released him and ordered the chief priests and all the council to assemble, and brought Paul down and set him before them. So Paul now is going to go to the council of the Jews. He's been taken back into the barracks because the commander is scared that he'll get torn apart by the Jews. He's taken apart, and they thought, we need to get to the bottom of everything that's going on here. Let's torture this man Paul, and find out actually from him what's going on, what's all this to do with. And as they're about to get the whip out, you can imagine them sort of cracking the whip just about, and Paul says, "Excuse me, did you know I'm a Roman citizen? I'm not sure it's lawful for you to actually do this." And this puts the the frighteners on the Romans when they find out that he's a Roman citizen. So they stop. I'm sure they're thinking, we don't really know what to do here. We don't know what to do. You feel sorry for them in a way, but and here they're about to scourge Paul, and that perhaps that would have sorted it out. They'd find out from Paul what's going on, and the Jews would be happy that they'd put out some summary justice. But no, they can't even do that, and they put him in chains again, and but they want to know from the Jews. They released him, and they ordered the chief priests and the council to assemble. So they're saying, look, we need to know everything that's going on. Get the council of the Jews together with Paul, and then at least we'll be able to know why this riot is going on. And that's what happens in chapter 23.